Hello class, Dylan Smith again. So when I was watching the brainstorming video, I did notice a few things that were mentioned in Chapter 8 of our text by Granello and Young from 2019. First, I noticed that the video opened with what appeared to be a paraphrase used by the counselor, really to kind of sum up what the client had said so far. It did prompt the client to add some more information into the session, and it did serve as a way for the counselor to make sure that so far he had heard everything right that the client had been saying. In terms of the homesick video, I noticed that the session kind of opens with some open-ended questions. The counselor kind of prods the subject, if you will, to respond and allows them time to do so, giving the client time to respond there. Really, it's the client that's in control of the session, though. The client's leading where it will go, but the client is kind of providing some general guidance, some guidelines along the road there. The counselor paraphrases every so often, just to make sure that she's gathering her thoughts and making sure she's got the story straight from the client. She uses a reflection of feeling. She picks up on certain emotions that the client is describing, but not necessarily being able to vocalize those feelings. In the third video, the video with the dancer, the counselor seems to employ more closed-ended questions. The counselor is definitely in control of the session, and the counselor is providing specific questions that are answered with some short answers by the client. It appears really also that the client in that video also tends to use a reflection of meaning, positing that at times maybe this is what the problem means for the client. This is what the client's feeling. I think that if I had to really say what my expectation of counseling would be, it would look more kind of like the third video with the dancer. That session really is my kind of what I have said in my mind of what a counseling session kind of looks like going into this class. Granello and Young from 2019 indicate that clients often come to the counseling as a last resort when nothing else has really worked for them to kind of alleviate their pain or get them past the issues they're facing. So perhaps when all else fails, counselors are viewed to have the answers that clients are seeking. Is certainly in the way of the video with the dancer. The counselor kind of inferred that the client was confused about these feelings, these emotions that she was experiencing, and the client's close-ended questions were trying to lead her more in that direction to understand that. I have to say that I noticed basic skills are sort of generalized. Several of these, 2 or 3 of these different counselors used the same methods or the same skills, but they're each employed in different ways to really fit the scenario. The client who's confused, the counselor is more in charge. There are more closed-ended questions to try to prompt the client to coming up with the solution. As opposed to the clients who seem to be more set in their ways. In the brainstorming session, the client's in control, and the client's providing their own direction. I'd have to say, if I had one question about all this for the professor, it would be, it'd really be about how someone should go about counseling someone like the homesick girl. We talk about the importance of the counselor-client relationship. and how important it is that that relationship exists there, because the counselor is somebody that the client ought to trust, somebody that the client feels they can confide in, to share with. But obviously in the situation of the homesick girl, I can see where it may be detrimental to the client for the counselor to maybe make the client a friend, so to speak. So the question really arises how the client, for me, how the client is to, excuse me, how the counselor is supposed to make that sort of relationship with the client in that situation without doing harm to the client.